socialist and a communist. The communist has already got his AK. Socialist is waiting to be given one by the government, right? So thank you very much for being here. This is not a gloom and doom get together at all. What this is an information download, if you will, to use that relatively new but somewhat unfortunate term, because it's like Metroplex, like the DFW Metroplex. It's kind of ugly a little bit, but it is a download of information. And the information is what's going to make the difference between making it or not. I've said before, this is the battle between good and evil. I have to revise that. We are battle by battle going through a war between good and evil that's been going on since the first man ever walked the face of the earth. And we see now that with the, first they ridiculed alternative media, then they went, well, maybe there's something to this alternative media, and then of course the ones that cause division and so forth, they're clearly to be seen, and by now we're all jaded enough, and I mean that in a good way. We know what we're getting when we see it. We know that there are some out there, you can believe about 85% of what they say, and the other 15% is complete rubbish, which to me prejudices the rest of the work. I view it with an even more jaundiced eye. I'll give you an example. MSNBC, CNN, we know that they are political engines, and ABC, NBC, and CBS, the standard network channels. But you know, I was going to go on to Fox News Channel. That was the plan. But I want to tell you what happened, because it's not a big deal. It's just same as it ever was. We want to talk to General Flynn. Well, you can't talk to him right now. He's under a gag order. Yeah, but we want to talk to him. Are you deaf? You can't talk to him right now. We have a letter we have provided you from General Flynn stating that we can speak for him. Oh, if we can't talk to General Flynn, we're not interested. Well, don't you want to support General Flynn? Mueller gets a lot of press. He's the one who drove the man into financial distress, had to sell his family home, stuff like that. You don't want to say anything about it. See, it's just one-upmanship. So let's talk about the Antifa mob that showed up at Tucker's house. You rack your old 870, that'll make that stop real quick. You mugs get out here, or pull that Clint Eastwood thing, get off my lawn, you know that thing from Gran Torino? So anyway, look, it's all about the money. It really is. We've never been about the money at Caravan, we really haven't. Money isn't everything, it is part of it. And I just want to state for the record, anybody out there who's listening, in this audience and over the stream, the Caravanners made all of this possible. All of it. The production of the programs Tuesday through Friday, the Arc Midnight Show, the radio program on Saturday, this conference, everything, the Caravanners did it. So would it be a big deal if I asked you to just give each other a hand, like right now, because you did this, you really did. And because you did it, we don't want to let you down. And therefore we have a pretty amazing group of speakers here. We really do. Each one of them brings their own gift, their own special expertise. In many cases, we are the beneficiaries of decades of total devotion to a single subject, so they can boil it down and just hand it to us. So you might want to take some notes. I woke up this morning. I'm not a person who feels fear very often. I scared myself several times trying to fly airplanes and ride motorcycles at high speeds and things like this. So I kind of got past the fear thing. And I realize now there's a line between rational behavior and stupidity, so I try and stay away from that line where machines are concerned, and also in dealing with these things that become increasingly dangerous of the political nature. But I woke up this morning and I felt a little tinge of, and it was tantamount to fear. Fear is actually a gift. It wasn't fear for myself, it's fear for this country. The manipulation that the citizenry is experiencing right now is on an absolute spectacular level. It really is. They have these news channels that they trust. Where else do they get their information? Robert Kennedy Jr. told the world, effectively, that Roger Ailes would not do a program on Fox about vaccine damage to children and would have to fire any reporter who did. Reason, he would lose half of his advertisers. Well, how's that going to work for the rest of us if they won't tell a story because they may not make as much money? I understand you have to have money to run an operation, but really, you see children that are being damaged and you don't even want to look at it? I don't understand it. So I decided that as small as our group may be, or as big as it may be, if they won't do it, then we'll do it. If not now, then when? And if not us, then who? Who's going to do it if we don't do it? Nobody. We are the cavalry. We are the people we've been waiting for to show up and do something. And notice the left has no trouble whatsoever putting together a march or a mob or break some windows or break up a conference or a speaking engagement. No problem. And somebody calls and says, just have security just stand down. Just have the local constabulary just stand down and just let them do their thing. Who's giving those orders? Well, the one who's paying the bill is the one that's giving the orders. So, it's the same as it ever was. A small group of dedicated individuals really can change the world. And that comes from Margaret Mead. She was a hardcore socialist, but I'm going to take that from her and say, yeah, you're right about that, lady. But we don't intend to let this thing spin into a socialist hellhole like Venezuela, because it will if these people get their way. They want their way. They do not care about human freedom. They believe the Constitution should be a living document. We can just change it whenever we want. Oh, we think we should rewrite the Bill of Rights. Well, we don't think the Constitution provided the government with enough power. Enough power to do what? Enough power to take care of us. Oh, they'll take care of you, all right, just not in the manner that you think they mean. We were warned the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And the speakers that you will hear today and tomorrow and the next day and tonight, these are all people who have decided to break away. In a way, we are the breakaway civilization. Doesn't mean going out and living in the boonies somewhere. It means just disconnect from the programming. There's this thing called linguistics, and it is the study of how words actually affect the human mind, not just in what you mean these words to, what you understand these words to mean, but the actual literal effect that they have on your mind. And if you know this, you just put that in the back of your mind, and as you watch these various broadcasts, it's the same information is presented by the same channels. Oh, look, and that channel's doing it too, and then this one, and this one, and this one. You probably heard me say this many times. I observed that they were not only covering the same stories, they were reading practically word for word from the same page. You know that thing, many of you have seen the YouTube presentation. Somebody put it together, and we ran it on the program where you've got, I don't know, 200 different people going, it's a clear and present danger to our democracy, and they're all saying exactly the same thing at the same speed. What is that? That's linguistics. That is the effect. If we say it and enough of us say the exact same thing, it will be planted into the heads of the receivers, and they will do what we want them to do. That's what propaganda is. It's just convincing someone to do what you want them to do. I've said this a few times too. As a matter of fact, I think I've said this before a few times. I just want to make sure everybody gets it. What happened in South Africa and what's happening there now is precisely what is planned for this country. Import a bunch of people that are not from there, take away the monuments, take away the flag, take away the anthem, take away the means of support, take away the ability to get a job, that's the latest, and then unleash the violence and justify it in the name of freedom and equality and inclusiveness. Those are linguistics techniques also, and we should be aware of this. Make your own decision, but just be aware of the weaponry that's used against you. And it is being used against you. The stakes are very, very high. The criminal cabal that we refer to as government, there are some good elements in it. There certainly are, absolutely there are. But it's the money behind these governments that is the real problem. It says in the Bible, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Not just some kinds of evil or that evil over there, all kinds of evil. And it is. Money itself is not evil, it's just the lubricant. It's the love of it. It's the willing to do anything to get it, to enrich the self. Like I say, drink, want more drink. Drug, want more drug. Building, want more building. House, want 2 houses, 3 houses, 5 houses. 1 car is not enough. 2 cars, 3 cars, 10 cars. More. Material stuff. And they abdicate any responsibility they have to their creator. The reason, in my opinion, that the left is so desperate is that they have no faith. They have no faith in anything but their ideology. Their ideology formed by other people. So when you question that ideology, let alone threaten that ideology, then the emotion kicks in. Now they're angry. Now they're getting jacked up. Now they're violent. Now they want to shut you down. Freedom of speech is perfectly fine as long as they approve of that speech. That's dangerous. Would you agree? Yeah. So, all right. Every once in a while I go on this thing called Patriot Soapbox 24/7. So they're doing a good work out there. They really are. They really are. And this QAnon phenomenon, Q is a real thing. Q is real. That's not some dreamed up thing. I'm happy to hear your applause for that because we're pretty close to them. We didn't even know it. They reached out to us rather than the other way around. I keep telling Brandy, I don't know what it is that makes us, or let alone me, so interesting here, but we sure are getting a lot of attention from some unexpected places. But it's a good thing. It's just good. It's good to share a foxhole with all of you in this war against oppression. It really is. What a great group of people. Now later on, we're going to speak with, or she's going to speak to us actually. Gee, I thought I had a camera on me for a minute. I was doing the program. You get stuck in that mindset. It's like, where is it? Oh yeah, it's over there. Sandra Solomon, she lived under Wahhabi Islam in Saudi Arabia, survived it, spreading the word about it. We'll hear from her later. But right now, in furtherance of the proposition that I put forward and have for some